So let's get into the basketball. This will be our last thing we talk about. The NBA Finals is here. We just yesterday Game 3 was played. Obviously we split. Miami Heat split in Denver. They come back Game 3, and I think they get shut out 109 to like 90 something, 94, 90 something. Let's talk about this Game 3. The Heat. How do you felt their effort was? Because I mean I have some comments on it, but I'll go to you, Jojo. What were your takeaways from Game 3 of the Heat, and how do you feel about them going forward in the series?
I mean, listen, man. I feel like in this finals, there's so many records that are being broken, and I don't know if it's because it's a number 1 seed playing a number 8 seed, in which it's a record in itself. But for what Murray and Jokic accomplished last game, with Jokic having a 30, 20, and 10 game, which is the first time ever in the NBA's final. That's insane. And of course, it would be against the team you're rooting for, the Miami Heat, which is ridiculous. So with him having these stats, along with, I think Murray had a triple-double as well, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the only time you had players in the NBA Finals that for triple. You're not going to win.
But he got in garbage time, though. He got in garbage time.
You're not going to get the W if that's happening on the opposing team. It's just not going to happen. He was making a late run as well, right? It was close at the half, and I keep preaching that is the goal with the Nuggets. You want to keep it as close as possible. And as far as the first 2 games, the Heat have won the third quarter, which I think is the most important quarter as so far in the finals, because it's the first time Denver won the third quarter, and that's when they had that huge stretch. And obviously, it comes down to the fourth quarter to try to close it out, in which they did. So what are your takeaways on that, Gabe or Julian? Whatever you guys saw in that, but hey, if the Nuggets continue to break records in this finals, they're going to be a very tough team to beat. No matter how you try to strategize and make adjustments, in this series.
Yeah, they don't got an answer for Jokic. They don't got an answer. Their only answer is to outscore him. I think that's they can't stop him. I mean, the dude, if he's not scoring, he's making incredible passes and assists.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I forgot who said it on the broadcast, but I completely agree with him when they said it. He was like, he might not be shooting well, but he's having a good game. And I'm like, some players, they can't correlate that. They if they're not shooting well, then they're having a bad game. But he understands. He's like, look, this isn't my day. How else can I affect the game? And man, the dude's vision is insane. And I say it again, he just makes the shit look so easy. And I love Bam, but when you see Bam go one-on-one with him, I mean, Bam's trying his heart out. He's trying so hard. He's doing well. He's in some of these games he's looked good. But but then you look at the other end with Jokic, and he's just, oh my God, it comes so smooth. And honestly, it worries me. I mean, I really think that the key for the Heat is really just to outscore him. Because the moment somebody has and I was saying this all playoffs long, that you need everybody clicking on all cylinders to beat the Nuggets.
Yeah, Gabe was saying too, I feel like the Heat need to play at their best to even have a chance, right? And when they showed in the first half, but it shows that the firepower for the Nuggets, and they even had the rookie player out of Kansas, I don't know how you pronounce his name, Braun or Brown. He was going head to head at Jimmy. He had a couple clutch plays going down in the fourth quarter, right? Some layups and ones, rebounds, key assists, right? Who would expect him, right? You're worried about the starting 5. Now you got this guy come out of nowhere, putting some damage. It's it just doesn't end. It's just always next.
And I want to jump on what Julian said. Jokovic, he probably should have won a fucking third MVP. This guy, you cannot stop. Jokic, yo, son of a bitch. I don't give a damn what he call him. This guy, you cannot stop him from scoring, right? And I think the success they had in Game 2 was, he scored 41 points in Game 2, but you stopped him from getting assists, right? You stopped the other guys from maybe getting more efficient things. So, you can make it hard on him, and but preventing the other guys from getting hot, right? Preventing the Aaron Gordons from getting the Murrays from getting hot. That's the stuff you have to worry about, because those could be more efficient shots, right? If you have to shoot it out, he's very good at passing. So if he's shooting out to a better, more efficient pass, if he's shooting out to the 3, preventing that. You can't stop him from scoring, but you can prevent him from going off and being more efficient with his other teammates. So I feel like, the biggest thing with Bam.
Stop both.
Here's the thing, though. He always draws the double team, and somebody's always open. The key thing is he finds the open man, which is so annoying to watch, right? Because I'm rooting for the Heat over here, and you double team him even for that split second, or they do a high pick and roll, they get the mismatch. You got Gabe Vincent trying to guard Jokic in the middle of the paint. All he does is float it over with it, with some finesse, and he's making these buckets. Like, he's very efficient, right? Whereas the Heat it's 50-50. You don't even know if they're gonna make a little point blank layup half the time, and they'll rely on the 3-point shot. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not fair at this point.
Like, I don't know if you're gonna find an American player that plays like him. Just like, it was crazy. I was watching like this like mini thing on documentary. It was on YouTube, like 10 minutes or whatever. But it's talking about like, here, like the player development, it's so ingrained to like, it's all individualistically. You got to play well. You got to play well. You got to put up the points. You got to take control. Yeah. Jimmy's got to step up. But like where Jokic and like Luka and all these other, like the way they came up was not like that. They weren't trained to like, play AAU basketball 24/7 all year round. Go. Like, I got to get as many points as possible. So it's throwing off a lot of players. Like when you have a guy like Jokic coming into the league where he's just dispersing it. He's just making it move. He's moving the ball. He's making it easy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Versus like, it's tough because you have all these players want to be the guy. You know what I mean? So it's just like seeing the Nuggets come in here. It's just like, it's tough because you got to kind of reevaluate the way you like even play him. Play against him because you got to treat it. You got to play him the way like he played growing up. I feel like it's a game within a game when you're guarding Jokic. And what I really like about his game is that if you really watch, right, when we say he's setting up his players, he's not just setting them up for catch and shoot situation, right? He's not like, oh, I'm driving, I'm kicking out to the open man. No, he's fighting cutters, he's doing dump passes, bounce passes, behind the back passes. Like, he's setting them up for easy points. Because he'll come up to the top of the key. Yeah. Grab the ball, and then his teammate knows to run behind him, and then he'll pass it right back through and open up the lane. Because now with him coming forward, Bam's going to come up, Caleb Martin, whoever is going to come up with him, then leave that paint wide open behind him. And he knows, working with his team, they know how he flows and how he works, that, all right, he's going to come up, I need to cut because now that's going to be open because Bam's going to follow him. So it's just like that kind of knowledge and wherewithal because – and most people, you're going to pass it off to your big man, and you're just going to keep on backing him in until you get close enough to where you take like a quick turnaround shot. But he's like, nah, let's make this simple. He's like, we're moving up, right? And I think the Heat and Spoelstra need to like make sure, like, you can't be doubling Jokic. You have to kind of understand the patterns of what they're doing here, because they see the Nuggets in general. They seem like a play-based team, like they're creating plays, they're creating movements, and the Heat do too. But like the Nuggets just do it on another level that is just different. And
I want to give a shout out to the Nuggets defense as well. Like game 1, game 2, I felt like they had good man on plays that they were showing. It's just like what Jody reiterated. When the Miami Heat shoot well, they'll have a chance. If they're shooting under 30% from 3, they're shooting 20% from the field. 30, 40% from the field. There's no way in hell that you can keep up with that. Defensively, we don't go back to Bam. Defensively, I feel like Bam, he has his games. He has his spots where he shows up. But the biggest thing with him is like offensively. Like, is he offensively aggressive? That's just the biggest question of him overall that I've had for like the last 3, 4, 5 years ever since we drafted him. It's like, can he take that next step and be aggressive offensively? I feel like he's all-star caliber, but it's just like, can you take that next step? But he does play. You got to look at both sides of the floor. Jimmy,
and I agree with that assessment. Yeah, for sure, I do.
Jimmy hasn't been playing particularly, playoff Jimmy wise. So I think he's definitely dealing with some kind of injury. Obviously, he had his ankle and stuff. He's been playing okay, but he hasn't been playoff Jimmy. He hasn't been the leader, the star of the team. He's last few games and going into the last series. So I think that's also a big factor. Although he does, Jimmy plays both sides of the floor, and I'll never doubt him. Like, regardless, I know Jimmy is always going to leave it on the floor. He's always going to give it whatever his 100% is, whether he's 80, 60%. He's going to leave everything on the floor, and I'm never going to doubt him. Right? I just imagine that picture of him exhausted in the bubble, him bending over. That's my image of Jimmy. So, but yeah, they got to shoot.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And I was saying, like, that's what I mean. It's like I feel like they're just getting out.
We're maxing out.
Like it just seems like they're just getting outsmarted, and it's like you're trying to combat that, which is like, let's go harder. We got to score. And it's just like and versus the Nuggets, they just seem like they're just making it easy. And it's just and that's what I was saying. Where it's like the Heat, like for them to win these games, they have to everybody has to be hitting. Jimmy's got to get 40 plus points. Like it's just you have to.
I think
the Nuggets just know how to lay.
I think we all agree. It's just Nuggets are just a better team coming into this. We all know that, right? So it's already an uphill battle, right? Even comparing the playoffs, with the Panthers, right? They're the better team, and I just feel like Jimmy's been a little hesitant lately. If you guys been watching, right, he's not playing as aggressive, like offensively, right? I know he's trying to get everyone involved, and they're trying to set up their shooters, but you saw him in that Bucks series. They played like they didn't have anything to lose. Right, he was pulling up from 3, mid-range, driving to the basket, so there might be something going on.
That's why. I was gonna say that leads me to believe that he might be hurt. That he has to rely on his other guys. You got to rely on Gabe Vincent. You got to rely on Duncan Robinson. You're gonna pass it out and shoot, because if you can't do it physically yourself, you're gonna have to rely on other people to compensate for what you lack. You know what I mean? That's what I feel.
I did want to ask you guys.
A lot longer now. Their possession a lot longer. You see a lot of pump fakes. Two-way, oh man, honestly, hold on, let me get into this, because the last game I was getting
okay, here we go.
Actually, impatient. Man, that two-player game they got between Jimmy and Bam, bro, it's not working. It's not. When they pass the ball to each other, they're running in circles, they pass it back. Bam's in the middle of the paint, trying to pump fake Jokic, doesn't know what to shoot or not, and then settles on the mid-range, and then it's a bucket on the other end for the Nuggets, and they're just running in circles. I'm like, that's not working.
That's what I'm saying. They're getting outsmarted. It just seems like they're getting out. It's not even like a talent thing. It's just like they're just getting outsmarted, it seems like. And they don't know what to do other than just try to put up as many points as possible and just try to get open and shoot. Like, that's what it seems like. As someone's watch, because I'm just like, bro, I just feel like they're just getting schooled. I just feel like it's because you guys might know better than me, but how talented outside of Jokic and Jamal Murray, how talented is the rest of that Nuggets team? Individually,
actually pretty talented. Yeah, you got Michael Porter Jr., who was a top draft pick. You got KCP, who's won a championship with the Lakers. You have a veteran in Green. They actually have a squad, you know what I mean, that's been playing together for a while, right, the last few years. And the biggest thing that me and Gabe actually points out is that there's no injuries. You know what I mean? And that's what's been holding them back.
I guess what I'm asking is if you pluck them from that team, how good would they be, I guess? Do you think there's a lot of individual talent there, or do you think it's just the way 100%. They just all gel together makes them elevate everybody's play?
It's actually a mix of both, right? So KCP took the big contract to Denver for his performance.
He left.
Playing in LA, right? So he earned that money. Porter Jr., he was drafted to the Nuggets as a top 15, top 10 pick, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Murray is the second coming of Damon Curry right now, which offensively, he's just going crazy.
He's turning the league.
Combine that with a freak of nature like Jokic, it's ridiculous. So I think Murray will succeed any other team. Porter, 100% will. He's super young. You got Aaron Gordon, a vet, plays aggressive, grabs offensive rebounds, has his putbacks. We saw what he could do in Orlando, right? I'm not saying necessarily he's the game changer, but he's definitely someone you need on your team. Yeah, it's he's just an animal. He's going to fight with you. He's going to battle with Bam all day. He's going to bully the smaller players, as we saw in game 1, right? And he wasn't even the focal point, right? Now the Heat had to make an adjustment to Aaron Gordon out of all people, as you saw in game 1. So individually, yes, they have a lot of star power. They do.
Yeah. And I think
as a superstar team, right? That wasn't the case.
Like, are they all stars or like just good role players? I mean, I guess is out.
I think they're good together. I don't think individually, like, Jamal Murray. I don't think of him as a one on a team, but two or three, like, he's definitely out of piece. But their biggest piece is obviously Jokic. And they just have tons of guys that can fill in. Like, if one guy's down, and next man up, Aaron Gordon, these guys, Michael Porter. One thing I want to point out is, like, objectively, like, talking about Jokic, they don't have a big man. Our biggest guys are at Bam Adebayo. Our biggest guys, you want to say Yurtseven, who's on the bench, who hasn't played a game in a long ass time. Cody Zeller, they throw at him, or Kevin Love. We're throwing Kevin Love, an old man Kevin Love, gray hair Kevin Love. We're throwing Cody Zeller at Jokic. Like, this guy's an MVP. Like, there's the closest guy that comes to it is Bam Adebayo, and Bam is kind of a skinny looking kind of guy, and Jokic is just
he looks more small dominant next to Jokic.
Yeah, he's just dominant. As big as these guys are, these guys are huge guys. Fucking, if I stood next to fucking Bam Adebayo, he'd be huge. But compared to
Jokic is stocky. He's just a big. He's not tall. He's a big guy. He's not just tall.
Move. He pushes the ball up the floor. And another thing to add to Jokic's arsenal, bro, he can make free throws. He gets fouled. That's an automatic too. Like, he's scoring no matter what. You don't have to worry about him at the line. So honestly, they don't really want to foul him. It's not a thing like Jokic is paying. Like, they're trying to play defense on him without trying to foul him.
Shout out to Shaq.
The big fundamental.
I mean, listen, I'm gonna say going in. So key components going in game 4. You got to win one at home, even a series at 2. Your shooters got to shoot. You got to come in like you came in at game 2, right? They made the adjustments, and they were knocking on the shots. And it's going to come down to trading baskets at the end, right? So when you have a missed basket, Miami Heat side, you got to play that transition defense in which Nuggets have been destroying you guys. You guys can't get back, right? Those point-blank misses, those little floaters you guys miss, which will turn into an easy bucket, that's got to stop. Or just make those shots. You know what I mean? Like, make your layups, make your little floaters, make it easy for yourself. I know it's easier said than like, but
I mean, that's what I was gonna say. Just like watching, it seems like the Heat are just trying to. Not saying they're relying too much on the three, but it's just they're shooting a lot of threes. They're shooting a lot, and I think, like you said, like, you got to get the easy points, like, when you have it, like, don't, because then you get into that battle where it's like you're only going to win is if you're hot. And then, like, do you really want to put yourself in a situation where it's like, I know we're just having an off night tonight. Well, it's like, all right, you have, just like we're said with like Jokic, like, all right, you ain't shooting well. You ain't shooting well. Like, all right, how can we reevaluate this to like make it easy? All right, I'm gonna feed it off to people who are hot, or create plays for people to make those easy points. And like Gabe was saying with like Jimmy and Bam just going back and forth, running in circles. It's like you're just making it tough on you. You know what I mean? So I don't know. And
I think a big part, like I said, I think there's something going on with Jimmy. If Jimmy, he's kind of a put his neck to the rim kind of guy. He gets his, running through the lane, getting fouls. That's going to the free throw line. He's also a pretty good free throw shooter. And if he can't get those calls, if he can't make that, then you got to find another way to score. You got to find guys who are hotter and more efficient. And that's when your Gabe Vincents, your Max Strus, your Duncan Robinsons, they got to be hot. If they're not hot, it's not looking good. Not looking good for the rest of the series. So we'll see. We'll see going forward.
And when Duncan Robinson,
any predictions?
A lot of times correlates that they usually win when he's hot. Even though I think he was hot game 3, but they lost. Right?
Yeah.
Was he? Did he do good last game?
I think he did okay. I think overall shooting was like 30%. They've been shooting at like 50, 47, 43%.
That's
something crazy. That's when they win. That's when, you know what I mean? So shooting 30% is.
And that just, I guess it just scares me. It's like, I just feel like it's like a coin flip at that point where just, I don't know, that playing like that just scares the shit out of me.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's probably all they have. That's all they have to work with. Mm-hmm. So.
Because I don't know if Spoelstra could really cook up something like interesting and to go up against them, but this late,
listen, on all even talent is even on the floor. I'm gonna go with coaching, and I feel like Spo has that experience. I'll go with Spo. I'm gonna stick with him, man. I feel like he's gonna pull the best out of the Miami Heat, even if it's not better than the Nuggets, he's going to try to put the best guys on the floor. So we'll see. A little bit down on Game 3, but we'll see Game 4. We're still at home.
Game 4 is
Hopefully
a must-win game. I'll tell you right now, it's a must-win game. Tie the series and you to Denver.